A locked door, a half-packed suitcase, and a bright young student gone without a trace. 25 years later, the shadows of that night still whisper questions no one can answer. How does someone vanish from a dorm room sealed from the inside? Welcome to Horror and Crime, Deep Secrets, where we uncover the darkest mysteries and the most haunting cold cases. Today, we bring you a story that still chills the hearts of investigators and leaves a family searching for closure. The Vanished Student, Unraveling the 1998 Dorm Room Mystery. It's the fall of 1998. The campus of Briarwood College buzzes with the excitement of a new academic year. Among the eager freshmen is 18-year-old Emily Carter, a diligent and driven student with dreams of becoming a journalist. She moves into Hawthorne Hall, a dormitory known for its creaky floors and ivy-covered walls, a place that would soon gain infamy for far darker reasons. But on the night of October 14th, everything changed. Emily's roommate returned from an evening study session to find the room locked from the inside. When campus security finally forced the door open, they discovered a scene that raised far more questions than answers. Emily was gone. Her desk lamp glowed softly. Her notes were scattered, and a suitcase lay on her bed, partially packed. But there was no sign of a struggle, no trace of where she had gone. What happened that night? Why did Emily leave her belongings behind? And how could she have disappeared without anyone noticing? These questions remain unanswered, haunting those who knew her and baffling those who've studied the case. Was it foul play, a meticulously planned escape, or something even stranger? In this episode, we'll explore every fragment of this puzzling mystery, from Emily's final hours on campus to the cryptic notes she left behind. We'll uncover details that have never been pieced together, examine the mistakes that may have sealed this case's fate, and present theories that range from the logical to the truly chilling. Stay with us as we unravel the threads of Emily Carter's disappearance, one detail at a time. Briarwood College, nestled in the heart of a quiet Midwestern town, was a place where ambition met tradition. In the fall of 1998, its cobblestone pathways echoed with the hurried steps of students, eager to embrace a new chapter in their lives. The campus, with its ivy-draped buildings and century-old clock tower, seemed to stand as a testament to stability, a stark contrast to the unsettling events that would soon unfold. The late 1990s were a time of transformation. The digital age was dawning, but in towns like Briarwood, the rhythm of life remained slower, more personal. Landline phones still dominated, and the closest anyone got to social media was a flyer tacked to a bulletin board in the student union. It was a time when trust in one's community was implicit, and danger felt like a distant specter reserved for news headlines, not one's doorstep. Emily Carter fit seamlessly into this setting. At just 18, she embodied the optimism of youth, ambitious, meticulous, and deeply curious. Her professors admired her sharp mind and tireless work ethic, while her peers often described her as approachable but intensely private. Emily had a knack for observation, often jotting down thoughts in a worn leather notebook that she carried everywhere. She had recently started writing for the campus newspaper, where she tackled stories others overlooked. Friends recalled her fascination with the unexplained, urban legends, unsolved mysteries, and the hidden histories of Briarwood itself. But was her curiosity about the obscure simply academic, or did it pull her into something far more dangerous? Hawthorne Hall, Emily's dormitory, stood at the edge of campus, partially shrouded by a dense grove of maples. Its brick facade bore the scars of decades past, with cracked window frames and dimly lit corridors that creaked underfoot. Students often whispered that Hawthorne had a character of its own, one that could be as unsettling as it was charming. And then there was room 319, the third-floor corner room Emily shared with her roommate, Sarah. By all accounts, it was an ordinary dorm room. Twin beds separated by a small desk, a shared wardrobe, and a single window overlooking the campus quad. But after October 14th, it became a focal point of speculation, a place where shadows seemed to linger and questions refused to be silenced. Briarwood itself wasn't without its own enigmas. The town had its share of unsolved disappearances over the decades, cases that grew cold as the years passed and memories faded. Locals would occasionally recall strange sightings near the woods bordering campus, but those tales were dismissed as the product of overactive imaginations. Was Emily Carter's disappearance an isolated tragedy, or did it reveal something darker about this seemingly serene college town? Was it merely coincidence that her curiosity often led her to the campus archives and the dusty corners of Briarwood's history? The answers, if they exist, remain locked away, much like her dorm room on that fateful night. As we step further into the mystery, we'll retrace Emily's final hours and uncover the sequence of events that made October 14th, 1998, a date Briarwood will never forget. October 14th, 1998, began like any other autumn day on the Briarwood campus. The air was crisp, leaves blanketed the pathways, and students shuffled between classes, their minds occupied with upcoming exams and social plans. For Emily Carter, the day seemed unremarkable until it wasn't. Emily attended her morning lectures, sitting near the front as always, scribbling notes into her trusty leather journal. According to her classmates, she seemed focused, even cheerful. Around noon, she was seen grabbing coffee at the student union, chatting briefly with a friend before heading back to Hawthorne Hall. That was the last confirmed sighting of Emily Carter. Later that evening, Sarah, Emily's roommate, returned to their dorm after a study session at the library. She expected to find Emily buried in her books, as usual. Instead, the room was locked from the inside, a detail that would become central to the unfolding mystery. When repeated knocks went unanswered, Sarah assumed Emily had fallen asleep or simply needed privacy. But as the hours passed, worry set in. She eventually called campus security. When security arrived and forced the door open, they were met with an eerie scene. Emily's desk lamp was still on, illuminating a cluttered workspace. Her notebook lay open, mid-sentence, as though she had been interrupted. A half-packed suitcase sat on her bed, containing neatly folded clothes, but no personal items. No toiletries, no wallet, no ID. Her phone and keys were missing. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken furniture, no smeared fingerprints, nothing to suggest violence or panic. Law enforcement was notified immediately. Officers combed through the dormitory and surrounding areas, questioning students and staff. Search parties scoured the campus, the nearby woods, and even the small creek that wound its way through Briarwood. Forensic teams dusted the room for prints and analyzed the contents of Emily's suitcase and desk, but their efforts yielded no definitive answers. Initial interviews painted a confusing picture. Some friends described Emily as excited about an upcoming journalism project. Others hinted that she had been unusually quiet in the days leading up to her disappearance. Sarah recalled that Emily had been writing something the previous night, something she refused to discuss. The pages of her notebook offered no clues. They ended abruptly, mid-thought, as though interrupted by something or someone. Local media quickly seized on the story. Headlines like "College Freshman Vanishes from Locked Dorm Room" and "A Town Gripped by Mystery" filled the morning papers. Students whispered about the possibility of foul play, but no one could explain how Emily had left the room, let alone the building, without being seen. Security cameras at the dorm's main entrances showed nothing unusual that night, and the emergency exits remained locked, their alarms untouched. Then there were the anomalies, the details that defied easy explanation. A single muddy footprint was found just outside the dorm window, though there had been no rain for days. Cryptic notes, written in Emily's handwriting, were tucked into the pages of her textbooks. Phrases like "they're watching" and "I need to leave" sent shivers down the spines of those who read them. Yet no one knew what, or who, Emily was referring to. And then there were the conflicting accounts. A student claimed to have heard muffled voices coming from Emily's room around 8 p.m., but couldn't make out the words. Another swore they saw someone resembling Emily walking briskly toward the woods, though the figure was too far away to confirm. These fragments of information only deepened the mystery, leaving investigators to piece together a puzzle with too many missing pieces. Despite exhaustive efforts, Emily Carter's trail seemed to vanish as suddenly as she had. With no witnesses, no leads, and no tangible evidence, the investigation stalled and the case grew cold. Yet the questions lingered. What prompted Emily's cryptic notes? Who or what did she fear? And how could someone disappear from a locked room without a trace? Next, we'll examine the investigative efforts that followed, the suspects who emerged, and the critical opportunities that may have been missed. The answers, or the absence of them, may hold the key to understanding the fate of Emily Carter. In the immediate aftermath of Emily Carter's disappearance, the investigation was swift, but its complexity quickly became evident. The locked dorm room, the lack of physical evidence, and the absence of clear leads left investigators grappling with questions that offered no easy answers. The initial police report described the scene as peculiarly undisturbed. The desk lamp illuminated scattered notes on Emily's desk, her suitcase lay partially packed, and the door was locked from the inside. Forensic teams found no fingerprints on the doorknob except Emily's and her roommates, a detail that perplexed investigators. If someone had entered or exited that room, they left behind no trace of their presence. Law enforcement quickly turned to Emily's social circle, questioning friends, classmates, and professors. Their goal was to identify potential suspects or motives. One name stood out early in the investigation: Jason Holt, a graduate student who had reportedly argued with Emily weeks before her disappearance. Jason claimed the dispute was over a newspaper article she was writing, one that he felt cast him in a negative light. However, his alibi, a campus lecture he was attending, was corroborated by multiple witnesses, and he was eventually cleared. Another potential suspect was a maintenance worker who had access to all dorm rooms, including Hawthorne Hall. Police initially considered this individual after learning he had a history of minor offenses. However, the worker's shifts and activities on the night in question didn't align with Emily's disappearance. Still, some online sleuths remained skeptical, pointing to gaps in the worker's timeline that were never fully explained. As time passed, missed opportunities began to pile up. Key witnesses failed to come forward in the critical first 48 hours, either out of fear or because they believed their observations were insignificant. One student, for example, reported weeks later that they had seen a shadowy figure standing near Emily's window that night, but dismissed it as a trick of the light. By the time this detail emerged, the footprint found beneath the window had already been compromised by weather and foot traffic. Evidence handling also became a point of contention. According to one detective who later spoke anonymously, a small fragment of paper found near Emily's bed, a possible clue, was accidentally discarded before it could be analyzed. This error, while seemingly minor, has haunted the investigation ever since. Could it have held the key to unraveling the mystery? Experts brought in to consult on the case highlighted the unusual psychological and logistical challenges it presented. Dr. Helen Morris, a criminologist who reviewed the case years later, described the locked room aspect as exceptionally rare in disappearance cases. She speculated that if someone had removed Emily, they must have had intimate knowledge of the dorm's layout and routines. This theory, however, was never substantiated with direct evidence. The case also attracted amateur investigators, both locally and online. While some provided promising leads, others muddied the waters with unfounded theories and sensational claims. The involvement of these sleuths highlighted both the strengths and pitfalls of public interest in cold cases. One local journalist noted that while the community's passion for finding Emily was commendable, it often distracted from the official investigation. With so many questions unanswered and critical details overlooked, the investigation stalled, leaving more mysteries than solutions. What could have been revealed if that fragment of paper had been preserved? If witnesses had spoken up sooner, might their accounts have provided the break investigators desperately needed? And why did key suspects, despite appearing suspicious, ultimately fail to connect to any tangible evidence? As we continue, we'll explore the theories that have emerged over the years, from the plausible to the extraordinary, and examine how these missed opportunities may have shaped or hindered our understanding of what truly happened to Emily Carter. Over the years, Emily Carter's disappearance has spawned a web of theories, some grounded in logic, others veering into the extraordinary. Each offers a piece of the puzzle, but none can fully explain how a young woman vanished from a locked dorm room without leaving a trace. Let's start with the most straightforward possibilities: theories rooted in crime and human behavior. Some investigators speculated that Emily might have been the victim of an opportunistic crime. Briarwood's proximity to a major highway has often been cited as a factor. Could someone passing through town have lured her out of the dorm? The locked room, however, complicates this scenario. How would the door have been secured from the inside? Others point to Emily's cryptic notes, phrases like "they're watching" and "I need to leave." Some believe these suggest she was targeted. Perhaps she uncovered something while working on her journalism assignments, something someone didn't want revealed. Organized crime, blackmail, or even a cover-up by powerful individuals have all been floated as possibilities. Then there's the psychological angle. Friends described Emily as diligent, but some hinted at her tendency to overwork and her interest in darker, mysterious subjects. Could she have been grappling with anxiety or paranoia? Some suggest that the notes were manifestations of inner turmoil rather than external threats. If she left the dorm voluntarily, what was she running from or toward? But not all theories stay grounded in the rational. Briarwood College and its surroundings have long been home to whispered legends. The woods near campus are said to be haunted, with stories of figures vanishing into the shadows, never to return. Could Emily's fascination with the unexplained have drawn her into something she didn't understand or couldn't escape? Others propose more conspiratorial explanations. Some online sleuths have speculated about government involvement, citing the unusual lack of evidence and the case's swift descent into obscurity. Was Emily's disappearance part of a larger, hidden agenda? Perhaps her notes weren't cryptic warnings, but clues left intentionally to point toward an elusive truth. The online true crime community has also played a significant role in shaping public perception. Forums and discussion boards have been filled with theories, from the plausible to the bizarre. Some claim to have uncovered forgotten details, like the strange footprint outside her window, while others argue that local law enforcement mishandled key pieces of evidence. The sheer volume of speculation, however, often muddies the waters, making it difficult to separate fact from fiction. Each theory brings its own strengths and flaws. The idea of a calculated crime aligns with Emily's sudden disappearance, but it fails to explain how someone could have bypassed the locked door without detection. Psychological explanations fit her private nature and cryptic writings, yet they can't account for the eerie anomalies surrounding the case. And while paranormal or conspiratorial ideas captivate the imagination, they lack the concrete evidence required to bridge speculation and reality. So, what do you believe? Was Emily Carter the victim of an opportunistic crime, a personal vendetta, or her own inner struggles? Could she have uncovered something so dangerous it cost her her freedom, or her life? Or is her story entwined with the unexplained, the unknowable forces that linger in the quiet corners of our world? As we continue, we'll explore the twists and gaps that keep this case alive in the minds of so many. Details that could hold the key to solving the mystery, or push it further into the shadows. In the years since Emily Carter's disappearance, small fragments of information have occasionally surfaced, just enough to reignite hope, but never enough to solve the puzzle. These developments raise as many questions as they answer, leaving both investigators and her family trapped in a cycle of discovery and despair. One of the most significant developments came in 2009, when documents were released under the Freedom of Information Act. These files revealed that law enforcement had initially withheld certain details about the case. For instance, a student living in the dorm 2 doors down from Emily reported hearing what she described as muffled shouting around 7:30 p.m. that evening. Yet this testimony was not included in the public narrative at the time. More intriguingly, DNA testing conducted on the single muddy footprint found outside Emily's dorm window suggested it belonged to an unidentified male. While this discovery sparked renewed interest, no matches were ever found in criminal databases. And with no other evidence to corroborate this lead, it quickly faded into the background of an already convoluted investigation. For Emily's family, the absence of closure has been devastating. Her mother, Linda Carter, still speaks of her daughter in the present tense, refusing to believe she's gone. In interviews, she often recounts Emily's laugh, her boundless curiosity, and the way she always found beauty in the smallest things. The family has kept Emily's case alive with public appeals, private investigators, and even billboard campaigns, but the answers remain elusive. Friends, too, remain haunted. Sarah, Emily's former roommate, has struggled with guilt, questioning whether she missed something in the days leading up to the disappearance. In a rare interview, she described how she often replays that night in her mind, searching for clues in the smallest details of their last conversation. But for every potential revelation, there seemed to be equal, if not greater, contradictions. If the shouting heard by the other student was related to Emily's disappearance, why did no one else hear it? If the footprint belonged to a perpetrator, why was there no evidence of forced entry or struggle? And then there's the matter of Emily's cryptic notes, phrases that seem to hint at fear or foreknowledge. Were they warnings to herself, messages to someone else, or simply the product of an overactive imagination? And what about the timeline itself? How could a dormitory filled with students, a building with narrow hallways, creaky floors, and multiple security cameras, allow someone to disappear unnoticed? If Emily left voluntarily, why abandon her suitcase mid-packed? And if she was taken, how did the perpetrator avoid detection in such a confined space? These contradictions form the heart of this enduring mystery, keeping it alive in the minds of those who seek answers. But perhaps the most chilling question of all is this: if Emily's disappearance was meticulously planned, does that mean someone is still out there, watching, waiting, ensuring the truth never comes to light? As we approach the conclusion, we'll reflect on the emotional toll this case has taken, the broader implications of unresolved disappearances, and the possibilities that still remain. Stay with us as we navigate the shadows of Emily Carter's story one final time. Emily Carter's disappearance is more than just a mystery. It's a wound that has never healed. For her family, friends, and the Briarwood community, the unanswered questions have created an absence far greater than her physical loss. A void filled with what-ifs, regrets, and the haunting echoes of a life interrupted. In the years since that October night, the Carter family has continued their search for answers. They've spoken at vigils, consulted with private investigators, and even started a foundation in Emily's name to support families of the missing. Yet the ache of not knowing remains, a constant presence that shadows their every step. For her mother, Linda, each day without closure is another chapter of heartbreak. Briarwood College, too, bears the scars of Emily's disappearance. Students still whisper about room 319, avoiding it when possible, while local legends about what happened that night continue to grow. The dormitory has become a symbol of uncertainty, a place where the everyday meets the inexplicable. And for the broader community, Emily's story serves as a chilling reminder that safety is never guaranteed, even in the most familiar places. But Emily's case also serves as a lesson, a stark reminder of the fragility of evidence, the importance of speaking up, and the need for continued vigilance in pursuing justice. If there's one thing her story teaches us, it's this: no detail is too small, no question too insignificant when it comes to uncovering the truth. And now, we turn to you, our viewers. What do you believe happened to Emily Carter? Was she the victim of foul play? Did she leave of her own accord? Or is there another explanation we've yet to consider? Share your theories in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you have any information, however small, please contact the relevant authorities or support organizations dedicated to missing persons cases. If you found this story as haunting and perplexing as we did, make sure to subscribe to Horror and Crime Deep Secrets for more chilling tales. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode as we continue to explore the world's darkest mysteries and coldest cases. Next time, we'll unravel the enigma of silent streets, the unsolved disappearance of a small-town mother. What began as an ordinary night for a beloved mom ended in a chilling mystery that has baffled investigators for decades. Was it a tragic accident, a hidden life, or something far darker? Join us as we piece together the fragments of her final hours and explore the secrets of a town that refuses to forget. Until then, stay curious, stay vigilant, and keep questioning. You never know which detail could unlock the truth.